Join me as I dive into the court battle Bishop Marvin Winans is facing over his church land. Can I uncover the key details and figure out what's really at stake? Bishop Marvin Winans is a well-known figure in the church community, leading the famous Winans family and serving as a pastor. His church, the Perfecting Church, has been a cornerstone for many, providing spiritual guidance and community support. But recently, Bishop Winans has found himself in a heated court battle over a piece of land that holds significant value for his church and congregation. Nobody expected a church land dispute to explode into a full courtroom battle, but that's exactly where Bishop Winans now finds himself. The documents reveal details that shocked even long-time supporters, and what surfaced next raises questions nobody saw coming. In today's video, we're breaking down exactly how a quiet church land issue involving Bishop Winans turned into a full legal dispute. You'll learn what sparked the conflict, what the court is demanding, how the congregation is reacting, and the surprising details hidden in the filings. And stay with me, because the turning point in this case is far more dramatic than anyone expected. To understand why Bishop Winans ended up facing a court situation at all, we need to go back to where the conflict quietly began. At first, it looked like a simple disagreement over property boundaries, the kind of issue most churches resolve with 1 or 2 meetings. But according to the documents and community reports, this situation was different from the very beginning. From what's been shared publicly, the land connected to the church wasn't just any property. It carried history, family ties, long-standing agreements, and expectations from people who felt deeply connected to the space. Some members say promises were made years earlier. Others claim certain decisions were taken too fast, and instead of getting cleared up privately, the confusion slowly grew into frustration. Now, here's where things get interesting. Multiple voices from inside the congregation began sharing different versions of what they believed happened. Some insisted everything was handled properly. Others felt like they were left out of important conversations. When people's emotions, memories, and records don't match, conflict eventually finds a way to the surface. And that's exactly what happened here. What started as a simple question, who officially controls this land, turned into a disagreement that both sides felt strongly about, strong enough that eventually one path remained: let the court review the paperwork, timelines, and decisions. But this is only the beginning of the story, because once the filings were submitted, something unexpected happened next. Something that completely changed the direction of the case. Once the dispute officially entered the courtroom, the tone shifted instantly. What had been quiet conversations inside the church moved into public records, and that's where the real turning point began. Court filings don't deal with emotion, history, or personal relationships. They deal with dates, signatures, land, titles, and hard facts. And those facts revealed details that caught almost everyone off guard. According to reports surrounding the case, the documents included timelines that didn't match what many people assumed. Some agreements were older than expected. Others were missing signatures people believed were in place. There were mentions of prior discussions, verbal understandings, and moments where decisions were made quickly compared to what the records officially showed. This is where the congregation started paying even closer attention. People who had never opened a land deed in their life suddenly wanted to know every line. Some felt validated by what came out. Others felt confused. A few were simply shocked that the issue had escalated this far. And in the midst of it all, Bishop Winans maintained that the situation wasn't what the public was making it out to be. But the most surprising part came when the court requested additional documents. That request alone signaled that something in the initial filing wasn't fully clear, and the court needed more before making any decision. For many watching from the outside, this was the moment everything shifted. You could feel the tension rise within the church community as everyone waited to see what would surface next. And what surfaced next didn't just raise questions, it opened up a much bigger conversation that the church never expected to have. As the court requested more documentation, the atmosphere around the church shifted from concern to full-on tension. People who had been quiet at the start suddenly wanted answers. The court battle involves Bishop Marvin Winans and several other parties claiming rights to the land where the church is located. This dispute has significant implications for the church and its congregation, as the outcome could affect their ability to continue worshiping in their current location. The stakes are high, with both sides presenting their cases to the court, The church's future seems uncertain, leaving many to wonder what will happen next. The congregation is anxiously waiting for a resolution, hoping that the church can continue to serve as a beacon of hope and faith. Delving into the background of the land in question, it's clear that there have been previous conflicts. The land has been a point of contention for years, with various parties disputing its ownership. These past disputes have ultimately led to the current legal situation, with Bishop Winans and his church fighting to maintain control. Understanding the history of the land is crucial in grasping the complexity of the case. The land holds sentimental value for the congregation, who have worshipped there for years. The history of the land is marked by a series of complicated transactions and agreements. At one point, the land was sold to a third party, but there were allegations of foul play. This led to a lengthy court battle that ultimately resulted in the church regaining control. However, the current dispute has brought new challenges, with opposing parties claiming that the church's ownership is invalid. The situation is further complicated by the involvement of multiple parties, each with their own interests. A pivotal moment in the court case came when a surprise testimony was given by a former associate of Bishop Winans. This testimony revealed shocking information about the land dealings and potentially changes the dynamics of the case. The revelation has left many questioning what this means for Bishop Winans and the church. The testimony has raised more questions than answers, and the congregation is eagerly awaiting the court's decision. In conclusion, the court battle over the church land has significant implications for Bishop Marvin Winans, his congregation, and the community. The stakes are high and the outcome is far from certain. If you're following this story, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Check out my other videos on church controversies and legal battles for more on this kind of story. Thanks for the watching and subscribe.